Oh, hey, didn't see you there. My name's JR, and welcome to my workshop. Responsibly fun! Yeah. Hey, it's me again. I'm still here. Thanks for coming to my presentation. Responsibly fun. Getting the most out of your Japanese experience while maintaining a good relationship with your mental and physical health. Or should I go this way? With your mental and physical health. My name's JR, and I live in Ojika. This presentation is all about you. Hello, and welcome to the first and only edition of my workshop. This is JR speaking, and you are about to go through Responsibly Fun, getting the most out of Japan while navigating the hurdles of mental and physical health. Today, I'd just like to take you through what wellness means to me and how you can optimize your wellness when it comes to your physical and your mental health. Living in Japan. Identifying stress, man. Stress, it's part of our daily life. It comes at us from many angles, and there are many stressors that are common to us here. These include, but are not limited to, culture shock. I'm sure we've all experienced that to some degree. Workplace struggles, whether that be with coworkers or students, or maybe even your bosses. I don't know. Language barriers. There's a degree of difficulty no matter where you are on the spectrum of your language acquisition while you've been here. Isolation. We're quite far from home. Many of us are in Inakas, and even if we're not, in cities, for example, there's loneliness that can happen at times. And of course, currently with the times, Corona. I'm very sorry. These are just to name a few, but beyond that, many times we have personal hurdles we either came with or develop along the way. No matter who we are, we just can't avoid it at some point. So I personally came up with a way to identify for myself when I was in a rut. And since then, I've been able to kind of crawl myself out of the hole and maintain a level of healthiness for me and my needs. But first, let's cover some basics. How can you identify your stressors? First off, there is positive stress, and that's something we do absolutely need. So don't think that you can get to a point in life where you are just zero stress emissions ever, because that is honestly unrealistic, but congratulations if you can. But positive stress is referred to as eustress, and it's the stress that helps us prepare for a test or a job interview or stuff, for example. On the other hand, today we are focusing on the negative stress or distress that harms us physically and mentally. How can stress harm us physically, you ask? Well, great question. Stress can cause many physical symptoms to our health. This includes muscle tension, breathing problems, heart problems, digestive problems, ouch, reproductive problems, whether you're male or female, fatigue and sleep problems, and these are just a few of these. Oftentimes, these symptoms cause us to neglect our physical health, leading to unhealthy eating habits and more sedentary lifestyles that only exacerbate the problems. So physical health shows up in these symptoms, but also beyond that can result in us doing practices that harm our physical health even more. How can stress harm us mentally? Well, the emotional and psychological symptoms of stress can include anxiety, depression, trouble focusing, anger, drug, alcohol, tobacco use or abuse, and social withdrawal. Anxiety, depression, I'm not going to go into any clinical definitions of that, but I'm pretty sure we all know what that is. But if you feel yourself experiencing symptoms of that you want to get help with, I fully encourage you to seek the proper channels to address that. That's not something to mitigate. The other symptoms, though, troubles focusing, anger, abusive substances and withdrawing socially, a lot of times we do kind of recognize those a lot easier, I guess. Mental health is something we're not always able to come forward about easily, but those effects we can feel more severely than physical health at times in some cases. We often neglect ourselves and we take on too much and we try to cope in unhealthy ways as a result. So this is something that I do take seriously, and I hope that you do too for your own personal well-being. So what causes stress? Lots of things. Major life changes or events, financial issues, interpersonal issues, family issues, personal issues, relationships, spouses, partners, friends, workplace issues, co-workers, bosses, students, so many things. What are the differences between interpersonal and personal issues, you ask? Well, personally, I don't know. You take a person and you take their issues and you put it with another person, and becomes, instead of just being between those two people, people individually, it becomes together, combining them. It's now interpersonal. Ignore that part about the joke. In other words, it's known as life. Life, guys, it gives us stress. Who knew? Who knew? Is this the real life or is it the fantasy? What can you do for your wellness? Take a stress test. It starts as simply as taking a stress test. You can find these all over the internet, good or bad, but find one that takes like 2 minutes. You can just tell you where you're at, give yourself a check, or you could just give yourself a mental gauge of yourself, self-activation. This is all about self-help, so you do need to just be able to gauge yourself at times. Maybe you just need to sit and meditate for a little while, look at your inner side, get into your turmoil, see what's going on with you mentally, physically, spiritually. Really breathe into all your bones, live it. All right, but sometimes we may find ourselves in a hole, and we need to learn how to get ourselves out of that hole. Claw yourself out, get ahead of it, and then stay TF out of it. Maybe you're not in the hole, maybe you're on top of your game, and that's great. But sometimes we can regress and we can fall back. So this is all about getting yourself out or maintaining a level and also progressing to the next level. The hole. Many times we feel that we get into a rut in life. I know it happened for me. I know it happens for many other people. You get into a hole you can't dig yourself out of, and you just feel stuck. You don't know what to do. Life just hits you real fast, and it hits you hard, and it just really makes you want to say "fluck it." But you're not just saying "fluck it." You're really saying, "Please help, lessen unreasonable kerfuffles. I'm teetering." You're on the edge. You're about to fall off the cliff, and you don't know what to do. But when you get to that point, when you're saying "fluck it," that's when you are really crying out for help. And whether you take action steps yourself or you seek guidance from some exterior party, "fluck it" is where you recognize that you need to get help. You need to get yourself out of this hole. Once you start recognizing that, then you're ready to kind of take a bite of it. Take a bite of that hole. Let's get out of there. Once you start to take a bite of it, then you can get to a point where you can stay truly free and out. But only once you've taken these steps to get there. You can only get truly free and out if you take the reasonable steps that work for your wellness when it comes to your mental and physical health or well-being. And once you transcend that point where you're no longer in the hole, you've taken steps to get yourself ahead of this problem, and you start to stay on top of things, then you can trans to the point where you're just, who cares? I'm good. Life is gravy. I'm doing what I need to do. How can I help others? When here, often creative action rewards effective success. This is where you really can be in a more proactive space. You are self-helping yourself to the max, and that is a beautiful place to be in. We don't like to be in fuck it. We want to be in who cares mode. That's when we are really able to thrive. Okay, have you identified yet? What I want you to get out of this is that your mental health and physical health are two sides of the same coin. They are part of your overall wellness, and you need them both to be able to be at your personal best, whatever that is for you. I'm stressed. What do I do?
I didn't quite know what I was supposed to do in the beginning. I remember my lessons from like my first year, just like looking back, they are far different from what I do now. Yes, I was stressed about knowing what exactly I was supposed to do. Unhealthy coping mechanisms such as poor sleeping habits and watching too much YouTube when I should be doing something productive. Shutting out the world. Unhealthy coping mechanisms.
Okay, so at
I wouldn't necessarily say I deal with it in the best of ways.
Nice.
But yeah,
so,
a couple of years ago, I got to a point where it was like...
What was like the turning point for you?
You're in contact with people. Because I know before, it was usually just like home, work, that's it. So I've been really making an effort to actually spend time with people. If you can't take care of one, at least take care of the other. Because personally, I feel like I still have a ways to go as far as my mental health is concerned. At least from my perspective, I feel like I'm not where I could be. But I'm doing my best to at least stay fit and eat healthy. So if you feel like you can't control your mental health, then try your physical health. Or maybe if you feel like you can't control your physical health, maybe try your mental health. But I say don't overwhelm yourself and try to do both at the same time if you don't think you can.
Okay, I don't know who needs to hear this, but it's okay to have bad days. Putting you first in some cases doesn't make you a selfish person. Protecting your energy is a smart thing to do, man. Whether you're the biggest empath or just fairly sensitive, you can and should have limits and boundaries in the workplace and relationships that you create. Also, it's completely okay to say no at times. Maybe you don't want to go for that night of karaoke. Maybe you can't accept that last minute assignment from your coworker that they're trying to push on you because honestly, it might just put you over the edge that day. Learning to say no is just as important as skills of being open to saying yes. Believe me, we've all been there when we've taken on way more too much than we can chew. And we want to be as helpful as we can. I get that. We want to look good. That's fine. I know you guys are all hard workers, but sometimes you just really have to check yourself and be like, if I say yes to every single thing that comes my way, how is that going to start affecting me in the long run? All right. Well, your wellness, it starts with you. Your wellness is everything. Oh my gosh, this is so useless, you might be thinking. Ugh. But one might only say that if they're a complete jack. No offenses to Jack, but this is something that you need to realize that doesn't just happen. It's something that you need to be willing to do about. Hey man, you may be thinking, I'm an adult. I don't need this. Stop being a jack. Everybody needs a reminder now and then. You remember when we were in grade school and there was like this food pyramid? Yeah, I see this classic food pyramid here. What you see there is something that made sure that we ate all of our food groups and did it daily and did it appropriate. So we had a good balance of nutrition. I don't know, there's like carbs and stuff, right? But apparently that's obsolete now. But my point is that this, for many of us in our youth, was an introduction to balance. Yes, it is good advice to follow, and it is good to follow science and whatnot. But it's equally important to know what works for you. So on my wellness journey, I needed to find a plan that I could take small steps with or gradually involve them into larger chunks and something that I can dedicate myself to and stick with. So I found this wellness pyramid that could work for me personally. I want to share this with you now. But for me, I needed a good combination of movement, nutrition, and mental approach to be able to feel my best. I started exercising daily and I started eating better, putting nutritious things in my body that could help me feel not just fill me good and not just weigh me down. I took a better approach to my mental wellness. I started to sleep more, started to engage in more social activities and hobbies, and these are things that I needed for me personally. And I could gauge my progress by kind of managing how much of each of these I was getting daily and on a daily basis, keeping daily routines that kept me honest as well. But maybe you are adverse to corners. Maybe you don't like triangles. I don't know, man. In that case, get you a wellness pie chart. All right, you see that? This could work for you. It's worked for me too, also, as I adjusted and adapted and realized that just these 3 things in my life were a great start, but I needed more. So, you could go to a circle, go to a pie chart. Keep yourself in the middle. There's you. Hey, you. And then you have everything around you that feeds you. So I still have my physical health. I still have my nutrition and movement and my mental wellness, but it just expanded. But then you add in emotional and spiritual, social, occupational, intellectual things that can really enhance you even further. So you take that next step into your wellness journey. All right. Make sense? Cool. So now I'm going to show you another kind of chart that I use currently. All right, this is my wellness pie chart currently. You see my needs are exercising, nutrition, stimulation, intellectual stuff, mental fitness, exercise and nutrition. And I feel that's pretty self-explanatory. I like to work out consistently. I like to go to sports. I like to go to clubs. I need intellectual stuff in my life, whether that's every now and then going to a museum. Maybe I want to watch some smart movies like from Neil deGrasse Tyson or something. And just, keep intellectualness in my life. I need I need some stimulation in my life. For me, that's adventure and hobbies and mental fitness. I like to stay on top of my reading, my writing. Poetry makes me happy, and my studying of Japanese or other subjects that I'm interested in, and things that I want to do, that I want to advance my own career. So what do I enjoy? So necessary. It's time to create and execute. Laissez les bons temps rouler. In New Orleans, they have a saying, let the good times roll. I take that quite literally. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. A lot of times we come here and we think that we need to be drastically different in everything. But that's not the case necessarily for everybody. You got to identify some stressors that are part of your life, and you've got to begin to take these next steps and building a plan to, maybe you're making more actionable steps towards improving your wellness. Maybe you're more of a who cares phase, and you're just trying to stay on top of things and exceed your previous limitations. Whether you're transitioning or not, it's important to keep up the progress that you've made thus far. So, this saying, les bons temps roulés, it's all about just, kind of staying ahead once you get to a place where you feel comfortable. Letting the good times roll is literally just saying that you're good, you're in a great place, and you want to continue that. You want to be thriving now. So what can you do about it? There's some keys to success that we need to identify in order to keep these good times rolling once we've kind of established a basis. First of all, you need to keep yourself accountable. Check in and check up. Check in with yourself. Have somebody also that you can check in with as well, if that helps. It's good to have reliable support groups. It's always necessary for anybody, really. You may think you're Superman and you can do it all by yourself, but that's not the case. In reality, nobody can do it 100% by themselves. You do need to keep yourself accountable, absolutely. Stays true to your goals. If you're trying to, you're trying to start cutting sugar out back, and you want to make a calendar, mark off the days that you've been successful. Maybe you're taking baby steps and you're just like, all right, I'll cut it out a couple times a week, maybe just certain times in a day. Or maybe you're just like, I'm going to cut out cold turkey and just be done with it for some period of time, or be forever maybe. You got to really challenge yourself, but also hold yourself to it. And then, having reliable support groups also goes hand in hand with seeking help beyond your own person. We're not always capable of doing literally everything that we need to do for ourselves. So just having other people that you can talk to, go get yourself some support groups that people are going through similar things, common experiences, shared experiences that you can bond over. Maybe you just need to talk to a loved one from back home every now and then, have a check-in with them so they know what you're trying to get through and they can support through. Or even if they can't relate, if you just have an outlet, you can just express to them what's going on. But also you need to have some hobbies that you enjoy doing, choose something that you can stick with. For me personally, I like to do karate, and I started playing piano, actually. Those are hobbies that I really enjoy, and I'm doing them consistently. I'm sticking to the routine, going consistently to karate twice a week, playing piano with a teacher once a week, but practicing daily for an hour or so, as long as I have the time. Also, I like to cook by myself every night. I kind of have to. I live by myself. But, this kind of just helps me refresh myself. But I hold myself accountable because I wanted to start eating better. So I said, let me stop eating out so much and let me just make dinner at home on my own. I do enjoy it. So you find something that you can enjoy and stick to it. And essentially, just do it, man. You got to just do it. I got to put in that plug. I'm from Portland, so I had to say that at some point. But seriously, though, that's just a great tagline in general. Just do it. Stop making excuses. We can have a million excuses, but you have to find those positive excuses, man. Get out of that kind of headspace. You can take little steps every day to improve your mental health. Be like, I like to read books.
The advice that came to me when I was stressed and a teacher in Australia was don't reinvent the wheel. See what you can go back on with your lessons and how you manage yourself. Making friends with some of the locals, the people we met through Iowa, friends of friends from there. That's where that really fixed up and I met the right type of people that taught me things about going to the gym and going fishing and taking advantage of everything on the island where we are. It was the type of people I needed. And that just made a lot of small goals to learn more about diets and in my free time, learn more about, a couple of exercise things that you can do. And if you're stuck in a dull moment one free afternoon, I make lists. I write down little things to say, when I get home, do this, 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 and this, those checklists. Another good bonus is, keep a diary. Write down things. Write things down in bullet points if you have to, just so that you're more reflective of, each day, what you're doing and your progress and how you're going, And finally, have a good influence. It can be Michael Jordan if you're still living in the late 90s. You need an influence, someone that's you can aspire to learn so much from. I have a influence at school, a teacher I don't talk to, but they dress like this. So I just copy them in a few dress sense sort of ways so I can feel professional. If you've done things that make you feel bad, like eating too much or, overconsumption, which is really easy to do, you've done things that make you feel good too. So going for that walk straight after school, increasing your blood pressure, going to bed early, those sort of things really, you realize if they work once one time, they'll work again too.
Finding balance and community engagement. All right, so this is a very important part of this whole process. First of all, you need to find your niche. Find your niche. All right. When I first got here, I was ambushed, basically, and I was told that I needed to... Okay, I wasn't told, I was asked, but it was more like an asking tell, to do the local eikaiwa. And I was cool with it, also kind of didn't feel like I had a choice, but it also ended up being the best thing that happened because I started networking with so many people right off the bat, and that got me into so many things that I'm currently doing. Eventually, like the first thing I did, I found karate from that. I've been going ever since. So finding your niche, mine happens to be karate. Maybe you can find a local studio of some sort to go to. Maybe like you want to do some yoga. Maybe you want to do some pottery in the community. Maybe you have some sports that you want to get involved in, like judo. Maybe you want to start a club of your own. That's dope. But find it and do it. Build healthy relationships. You need a friend. You need multiple friends, preferably. A lot of times, we kind of just fall into the English trap here, which is fun and all. But we're in Japan. It's great to make some friends with some locals. Find community for unity. All right, branch out. Overcome that shyness. We all have fears and shyness at times. Some of us are more introverted, and sometimes we don't feel like we have the energy. But even if you are more energetic, there's still always more people that you can vibe with. But community, healthy relationships, period, are really important. People that you can talk to on a personal level, not just the OG-san at the bar who, you see once a week to drink with. That's fine. But, find really somebody that you can get more on a personal basis with. Japanese people are really, really friendly, man. We've all experienced the generosity to a degree and hospitality here. But find somebody that you can really go to their house with, share time, share a meal with. That's still important part of community. That's really ideal. But honestly, find those relationships, find a friend, build your community, and begin to unite your circles. All right, so time management is really important at work, at home, in our personal life. It sounds simple, but honestly, having a calendar, plan out your days, plan out your weeks, your months even. If you don't need to do physically, at least do it mentally, I'd say. Just check in with what you need to do for the day, what you need to accomplish, what kind of goals you can set, small goals, big goals. Balancing things, like making sure you're getting your assignments completed making sure you're doing something as simple as grocery shopping, so you don't have to, buy convenient food every single day. Just something that you can do to kind of enhance your health here. Build a routine, whether it's a weekly, monthly, daily, hourly, something that you can consider a routine that you can establish. As simple as getting to bed on time, drinking water every hour throughout the day. Something more complicated, exercising once a week to start, then increasing that to twice a week, 3 times a week, mixing it up with different kinds of aerobics. Just building some type of routine that can get you on a better track. If you start it though, do it consistently. Like if you want to wake up at a certain time, do it every single day. Do it consistently every morning. Start yourself on a good note. Schedule yourself so you're giving yourself some deadlines as well. It's a little harder to do in your personal life, I feel like. But for example, if you want to, start a new hobby, maybe you want to learn a new skill, maybe you want to cook. Give yourself a number of recipes that you want to try in a week and do some research. Buy the appropriate ingredients for that. By the end of the week, I'm going to try this many recipes. So it forces you, get out your house, do some shopping, buy some fun ingredients that you've never bought before. Go back home and then start it. And then maybe you can establish that routine of cooking. It's very random and specific because it's something that I did. But find something that you can give yourself a deadline for. Find your wataru. I mentioned earlier that you need good friends in the community. Everyone needs a friend. So find yours. Mine happens to be a 40-year-old divorcee. He loves reggae. He plays guitar. He's loyal like a pup. Funnier than a baby, trying sour things for the first time. And he hasn't read a book since he was an ichinensei. He's the man. I gotta test the camera. Dude, go.
The most out of my work life, because if you're not enjoying work, that's a third of your day every single day, which obviously social life is important, but for me, I was like, I'm going to work, this is the reason why I'm here, and if I'm not enjoying it, then you're in trouble. Like that's how I saw it. So I tried my best very early on to make an effort with any teacher, even if it was teachers that didn't speak any English, just make a small effort, go and introduce myself. I introduced myself to each individual teacher. So one of them was one of the previous ALTs, and having a drinking party with some of my teachers that I get on well with. They don't really speak English, but you should come along if you want to meet them. They're quite cool. So I was like, okay, you know what? It might not be an evening where I speak much. I'll turn up, see what happens. And one of the guys there, his name was Naoto, who, like, to not spoil anything, he's now one of my best friends here. He came up to me and was like, yo, you're big. Very, very drunk. Came up and was like, yo, you're big. Have you ever played rugby? And I was like, I played rugby at school, but that's about it. And Jason was with me. And he was like, yo, you two should come play rugby. Now, Jason, I think, was quite busy the next day, but I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Turned up, 8 people, 8 Japanese people, none of them spoke any English. I obviously didn't speak any Japanese, but I turned up, hadn't played rugby in about 7 years, but decided why not, go for it. And I've been playing ever since. I've been playing for about a year and a half. And yeah, the people that are there, even though their English is great, and my Japanese is great, the more you get to know Japanese people, the more willing they're to try. And if you try and show that you're trying to be willing as well. And then from that, I then started a badminton club. So I actually founded a small club that we play every single week. It's pretty much all Japanese teachers or friends that they know of each other. It's like a word of mouth thing. There's a few ALTs that join. But yeah, it's just willing to put the effort in. Like, the badminton club wouldn't have started unless I went around and said, yo, do you know anyone who wants to play badminton? If you do, let me know. To myself in Japan, take any opportunity that comes. And fortunately, I mean, I've been very lucky. Again, I count myself lucky, but I also think you can make your own luck. I just kind of threw myself into everything.
Okay, so it's time to implement these strategies. Now that you've gotten to the point in your life where you can integrate it, it's time to integrate it into your daily life so it becomes a habit and just part of your established routine. You got to be productive and proactive. There's a difference between being productive and proactive. In these early stages, let's say we're a little bit more productive, meaning that we're being effective in our effort and we're essentially producing a lot of output. We're getting things done. It's very subjective, but for example, depending on where you're at, maybe you're being productive for you for the day means simply getting out of bed and getting to your workstation, getting dressed, brushing your hair, and starting this workshop. That's extremely productive for some people. Other times, you can set a goal of getting done. Maybe you want to study 100, 200 kanji and a day, a week. That's being productive for you. You're producing a manageable output. And the big thing is, you have to be disciplined. In either, whether you're being productive or proactive, you have to be disciplined in all this effort. It's a choice you make every day. Being proactive is more so about creating or controlling the situation rather than just responding to what's happening around you or to you. So we get back to more of the who cares philosophy, the creative action. You're creative because it's really rewarding. You're being effective and successful for you. That can mean a lot of things, but we're at our best selves when we are able to combine the two. But slowly, I encourage you to try to become more proactive every day. Beyond that, if you're at a low place and you're just focusing on being productive, that's excellent. You still need a lot of discipline to do that. You still need to just make the choices every day. But if you're in a more proactive phase and you start to slip, then you have to be able to re-able yourself. Remember why you got there in the first place. Get back on that horse and rekindle that energy that you had. You did it once, you can do it again. Whether you took a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks off, it doesn't matter. You can always get back on that and keep going. But as far as being proactive, I want to kind of define a little bit more of what I mean by that. Proactivity comes in many forms. When you're a professional in the workplace, it's more than just staying on top of your game, producing output as a productive member, but it's about listening to the world around you and responding appropriately. You're trying to benefit your colleagues, your students, your peers. You're trying to make sure you're giving your best so that they can as well succeed. Putting in minimal effort is no longer just enough. You want to think of ways that you can help make targets more effective for people and make a difference for those people around you. And as rewarding as it is to assist your colleagues around you, we have to give more to the personal side of it as well. And sometimes, you need to help yourself before you can help anybody else. So, in this way, being proactive, I keep saying that, in your personal life, you have to decide what's important. What we're talking about is physical and mental health, but basically being proactive and staying on top of these strategies that you've created means that you have to really depend more on developing your well-being. Do things that feel good for you. Decide what's important. If you're setting up schedules and calendars, awesome, you're on the right track, but keep on it. Do what feels good. Take those vitamins. Seek regular health checkups. Create those good habits of daily exercising. Check in mentally. And once you start with these simple goals, 10, 15 minutes a day, then you can, keep ramping it up, increasing these little things, and getting to a place where, physically, like you're not just doing the bare minimum anymore. You're really challenging yourself, and you're keeping yourself physically active and healthy, because you need to prioritize what you need to prioritize for yourself. And back to the mental side, when you do prioritize more, you realize that you are not immune to burnout. So you can take a second to kind of step back and assess the situation and have better awareness, I guess, awareness overall of knowing when you are at a point when you're not able to give your best effort, and taking the steps that you need to do to kind of service your own mental health. When life gets even more stressful, you need to do more things that make you feel better. You're inputting a lot, you're outputting a lot, but you need to kind of balance the two in together and find that support for the people around you, and drink plenty of water. I don't know why I keep saying that, but water's important, man. It fuels your brain. Keep yourself hydrated. I personally drink water all throughout the day because it just increases my brain, keeps me energetic. If I'm not feeling myself, I need to drink water for me. I don't know what that means for you guys, but my analogy is water for increasing your brain food. Writing down things to really keep you proactive, having these tools that you can identify that help you. But essentially, when it comes to being proactive, when you're implementing these strategies, you always start small. Focus on the little things that you can do now, you can do right now, you can be productive in your daily life. And then as they become more of a habit, then you adjust your approach, and then you morph from the triangle of wellness pyramid to more of the holistic you in the center pie chart that we discussed earlier. No matter what, whatever you're doing, you got to do it so you like it. And like Nike said, just do it. Portland JR plug, I'm sorry. Incorporate these new activities gradually into your lifestyle and observe how the rest of your life kind of falls into place as a result and affects you as you make these changes. Alright, maximizing Japan. So we've come to the kind of final points of this presentation. So what now? You know your stress. We know this. I know this. Whether it's a little or a lot, we all have some stressors in our life. But we've taken these steps. We've identified the boundaries to our complete wellness, and we've taken more steps to implement these strategies daily. So it's time to get the most out of all your potential, Let's have some fun. There's a lot of Japan-friendly activities, even in the COVID era, that you can do. And it starts as simply as taking small trips around your neighborhood, your town, your city, the prefecture. There's lots of nature and food destinations that you can discover, and even in these little roller knocker towns, there's so many hidden gems everywhere. I find that all the time. I live on an island with 2,000 people, and I still find new things all the time, and I know many other people do. You can do these little things. Sometimes, when you're first new to Japan, a lot of things that are simple as taking Shinkansen for the first time are kind of quite adventurous. For me, it was really exciting, and that's like something that's unique to Japan. So finding the avenues that are unique to Japan and really maximizing, experiencing those, taking advantage of these things that are around you that you can't have back home. Learning Japanese is important. You don't have to be amazing. Don't have to be the best or worst. Just learn some. It always enhances the more you learn, obviously, but not everybody's gonna get to that N1 level, but it doesn't matter. You can be anywhere in between. You can even be N6. You can still just enhance your daily interactions with the people around you, coworkers, students, community, and the more efforts you make to learn. And I don't have any advice for learning Japanese because, this is not what this video is about, and my Japanese is terrible. But I know that any little effort that I do put in always makes me feel better about myself and my experience that I'm engaging here in, even if I'm never getting to a place that I'm completely fluent. But yeah, it always helps also to kind of just break up the monotony of day-to-day living. For me personally, I know I'm on an island, so it can get really kind of monotonous at times. And I'm just going through my routines, going through the motions, but having those routines kind of just like puts me in a better mental space. Breaking that routine, getting off the island is something unique to my situation, but it's something that's simple that many islanders, I'm sure, can relate with. You're feeling cooped up. Sometimes you just really need to get off to break up the monotony. Just going to the city and shopping or something. But if you're already in the mainland Japan and the larger Nagasaki area, you can find things that break up your daily routines there too, in order to just kind of give you new perspectives. Yeah, and I forgot to mention volunteering, but I do so at the local library. And here is another interview.
Like, why is it worth it for you to continue?
Yeah. So I recently started my YouTube channel and the Shen Zone. So if you want, you can always subscribe. And the reason why I did it because I wanted to share my experience in Japan. So I do a lot of traveling as well. So that's another way of getting rid of my stress. Well, I'm fortunate to have a vehicle so I can drive around the place. And it helps me to share my experience with my Jamaican family as well as my friends from different countries, and as well as explore Japan at the same time. So that's good. It actually helps me relax, and it's a way of me speaking to the world without actually being in front of you guys. So it's actually a good thing for me. And mind you, at times it can be stressing, especially the editing time, because it will get in the way of other stuff. So at times I have to like prioritize my work, which one is more important, and do that.
Okay. So that's awesome. That's really awesome.
When I'm doing my traveling, I always do research so I can know all the places that I want to go, and then I'll make my itinerary before leaving. But traveling is also great for me, and I use it. Shut up, Martin. Sorry.
Oh shit! It looks like you had an itch on here.
Sorry. Let me think about this one. Traveling. How do I make the experience?
Has traveling? Okay, sorry. Go for it.
All right.
Okay.
So for traveling now, I usually like do my research prior to departure and then make my itinerary, and it helps a lot because at least you get to cover all of the bases and do what exactly that you want to do. There's so many places to go. I've been to some unusual places, and at times I would just look on my Google map and just drive. Like if I see something interesting, I would just drive to that location and take some pictures. That's what I would do. And it actually helps, and you end up learning more because you will see people and they will communicate with you and just have a blast.
Go Jika! Ojika's a dope place to live. I know it might seem like this is a bit of a JR Ojika show, but it's not. This is about maximizing Japan for sure. But I just wanted to show you some beautiful clips of my beautiful town. I really love it here, and I get so much out of it. And honestly, I just wanted you to know that no matter where you are in life, things can and will get better. I hate to be that guy, but look at this. Look at this dope scenery. Nature's dope. Okay, to wrap things up, in conclusion, I just want to make some points, some final points. Acknowledge where you're at and start from there, okay? If you're down in the dumps, in the hole, if you're climbing out of the hole, if you're out of the hole, moving forward, or if you're on a mountaintop, man, just acknowledge where you are and start your growth and your journey from that point on. But it doesn't have to be stressful. It doesn't mean it has to be impossible to take it easy. You can and you will get there, even if you seems like you're just going through the motions at first. It's all right. Just be actionable. Take those baby steps, or take those proactive steps. Whether you're staying fluck it, or who cares. You got a good start, and you can continue that momentum. All right, great. Next, mental health is to physical health as wellness is to your Japan experience. If you don't know by now, tying this all together, your entire Japan experience is infected by your mental and physical state. The more you are secure in your own self, the more fun that you'll be able to have, more engagement that you can do and enjoy while you're here in Japan. Japan has so much to offer, and you have so much to give to Japan. You really have to give to Japan as much as giving back to you. It's like any relationship. So if your mental and physical wellness physical wellness is in a funk, you're not able to do what's best for you, but you're also not able to give back to Japan as much as it can give back to you. So it's all reciprocal. This is a process, and I really encourage you to just check where you're at, engage it. All right, and last, it's always an option to, as a last and first resort, to kind of seek help when appropriate. You don't have to have anything wrong with you to seek out professional help if that's what you want or need. If you need to see counseling, therapists, Claire has many resources for counseling that we can access, or you can seek your own, any kind of guidance or professional advice and help that you desire. But beyond that, just having support groups also really helps. Having people you can talk to is super, super important. Can't stress that enough. Whether they're home or here, I really hope there are people close by or close to you that you can engage with. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for coming to my workshop. I had a blast, and I hope you all were able to get something from it. Thank you, and have a nice day. Take care. Bye-bye. Wellness! Live it. That's pretty good. I should have used that earlier. You can do it! Here at the pharmacy, you can get hand cream. Very nice. Moist.
That's very good.
At Ojika Motors and Scooters, we got motors and scooters. Motors. Scooters. Look at that wagon, bro. Yeah, bro, that's right, bro. We got motors and scooters out here, bro. Motors and scooters, bro. Yeah. We got ferries, bro. Look at these ferries.